If you could describe Billy Joe Saunders in one quick sentence, how would you do so?
A sexy motherfucker.
I'm going to make sure he go right out the ring, and I might get on the top of the bucket of the rope and come down with a flying elbow kick. Who knows? Who knows?
Hope you get hit by a bus today, you fucking wanker.
Who the fuck is he talking about? Oh, great shot! Left hand, right hand from Maxwell. Well, where did that come from? I can hardly believe what I've seen. An astonishing turnaround. He gets to his feet and he stops it. He stops it.
And the first time was so nice, I had to do it twice.
Favor of Tyson Fury. And judge at ringside, Phil Edwards scores about 113 to 113. Even a draw. The decision is a split decision draw.
Ooh, how convenient.
They can say anything the fuck they want, and I don't care.
I'm the can man. I'm one Mexican and the rule is this. He's a coward. He's all gut and no heart. Pussy.
Daniel Dibor, I am going to knock you out.
You ain't ready for me, and you never have been, you never will be. All you knock out, and 10 men in that ring on the night can't beat Tyson Fury. I'm going to make you fuck yourself.
Oh, go on, man.
Yes. What is up? MCR family? Another daily edition of the show. I shouldn't say daily edition. We've been gone for like a week. But we're live on YouTube, podcast from iTunes, Spotify, Radio, etc. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, on all social media platforms. Going to be talking all things boxing today, either later today or tomorrow, most likely tomorrow morning. I will be doing a UFC 248 wrap-up show as well, because that was a fantastic card and that deserves some attention. But right now, going to be talking all of the boxing news out there in the world, all the rumors and information, plus breaking down the fights that happened this weekend, when on paper they were not anything to really write home about. And we have a big upset now to talk about, which I think we can definitely delve into the ramifications of this upset, because I think it is one that does have some ramifications, at least for the next 12 to 18 months in terms of planning for the heavyweight division. But without further ado, let me get to my panel over there in the UK. Mr. Robbie Hearns, second cousin, twice removed of Sir Eddie. Rob, how are you, man? It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, you went off to relax, come back refreshed, but you came back all antsy and arguey and as usual. So
I'm always antsy and
glad you had a nice time.
By the way, I had a fantastic time in San Francisco with some of my college friends, and it was just a really good time to get away. But back to boxing. Yes, I am here. I'm relaxed. I'm zen. What's up, Rob?
Yeah, we'll wait and see on that. Shout out. What did I see? A Twitter post with the highlights of Hellenius and Kovnowski, which I've apparently that's how you say it, Kovnowski. Yeah. And they labeled it, for anyone who missed the action, here he is, the extra from Sons of Anarchy versus a waterbed. Oh, I nearly died. But yeah, smash the thumbs up, share the show. There's a bunch of other topics to get into. But yeah, Gary, how you doing, man?
Gary in Dallas.
Welcome. It's good to be back. It's been a while since we had a show. Immediately after today's show, tune into CBS Sportsline and watch Hipster play in the finals of the CAA tournament to see if they get into the tournament, the college basketball NCAA tournament. If they win, they're in. It was we'll get into all the fighting stuff. The Kwinoski fight, is that how we're saying it now? How are we saying it this week? Kwinoski?
I guess so.
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah. So. We definitely had somebody in our comment section last week for our preview show saying how like we're not credible because we can't pronounce his name right. And I was like, dude, man, sorry.
We just said phonetically, Kaunaki.
And I have literally been in front of him and said that, and he has now corrected me. I'm man.
He's probably never heard of Marv Albert, because Marv Albert, the basketball announcer, has never announced anyone's name right. Like, he gets names like Michael Jordan wrong. He's like, how'd you get that wrong? But he gets every name wrong. So, Dewani Wadi. It just we'll try to get it right. But, listen, I'm not a native Is that the language? Polish? That's the language, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
speak Polish? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a native speaker. I may get some. I may get some wrong.
How dare you, Gary? You aren't credible now. But anyways, guys, hit the smash the like button, share the show, all that fun stuff, and let's get to the show. First, let's talk about the Scott Quigg, Jonah Carroll card, because that, chronologically speaking, was the first card of the weekend, at least the most notable card of the weekend. And, I mean, were we all wrong? Did we all pick Scott Quigg?
I picked Jonah Carroll.
Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Why?
I thought that, look, Carroll's a tough guy, so I thought that he'd go the distance. You know, that Quigg wouldn't stop him. And I just said his punch output's is gonna win him rounds, right? Like, Quigg's not a master boxer, he's gonna get hit. So I just thought, like, you know, Carroll would win more rounds based on his punch output, but then there'd be people who would say, but none of that was effective. So I thought it was gonna be like a close, controversial decision that Carroll got the nod in because of his punch. I wouldn't expect that.
And speaking of that, I mean, yes, he obviously threw more and landed more than Scott Quigg, but he outboxed Scott Quigg, like, almost like effortlessly. Like, he was on the back foot at times, boxing well with the jab. Like, that was really kind of a great performance by Jonah Carroll against obviously a faded and obviously now a retired Scott Quigg, because he retired post the fight. But it was just, I'm kind of blown away by Jonah Carroll's, I mean, his boxing display, let alone obviously his volume, the stuff that we know that he has, the unlimited cardio tank, all of that. But his boxing, I didn't expect him to outbox Scott Quigg at all in this fight, and he did. Really impressed by that. Rob, thoughts on this match main event?
No, shout out to John O'Carroll. He said coming into it, he wanted to be more like, obviously massive volume puncher. We saw it against Tevin Farmer and things like that. He said he's always, like, his engine and everything is always on point, like his fitness. But he wanted to be a little bit more precise with things, a little bit more economical. A lot of wasted shots in other fights, and he's worked on it. Obviously, he's been away with Tevin Farmer, training with Tevin Farmer since their fight against each other. So, yeah, I've got to say, super impressed with it. But my reason for picking Quigg to start with is if there's a little bit left in Quigg, I felt he might just be have a little bit too much for Carroll. But sadly, it just wasn't there for Quigg. The timing's got, hellacious fight with Valdez, wildcard gym wars, I'm sure. Lots of miles on the tank on the clock with for Quigg. So it just wasn't there on the night. The timing wasn't there. He just couldn't get anything going. Maybe had a shout at getting like round 2, but it was virtually a complete shutout from Jono. And a lot of talk about Joe Gallagher and should he have thrown the towel in sooner. No, Carroll's not like a heavy-handed guy, but he was just picking him off. He was like beating him up, and I thought it could have come maybe a little bit sooner because I just couldn't see anything or any way that Quigg was going to turn that fight around. Carroll was just in the zone and creating angles, and I don't know, just really on point. I saw someone say like a poor man's Lomachenko. I'm like, well, throwing that name out there is a little bit much, but I get their meaning. Like, if it's a poor man's version, it's a poor man's version, right? So
yeah, it's like saying like the Dave Allen knockout of Lucas Brown was like Canelo-esque.
No, I mean, if Canelo would have done that, the world would have been going crazy. You know what I mean?
Anyways, Rob, quickly, look at the chat and see if you can confirm that the whole Dougie Fisher's reporting.
I wanted to comment on that, right? The stoppage, like, I mean, the corner could have threw the talent quicker, but if Quigg's like outlook was, I'm going to retire if I lose, and let him go. I mean, what are you saving him for? Another day? He's done. So let him go.
I will say this though, before we jump in, Gary, he looked like beat up early. Like, it was like round 3 and his face was already bruised, messed up. Like, it was quick in the fight when it was rather apparent Quigg was just chasing Carroll around and just eating shots and not doing anything.
And by the 5th round, Carroll was kind of like styling on him. And it's like, Carroll's like, I'm going to start opening up, leading with hooks and stuff. It's like, jeez. I mean, But Rob, did you cry when Quigg announced his retirement? Because he did beat Kiko Martinez. That's his claim to fame, correct? Is that his best? Is that his win?
I love these deep inside cuts. I love. I hope you understand these jokes. I really do.
Quigg's what? Quigg's best win? Kiko.
Was Kiko? Was the guy a better win than that?
I mean, that was a better Kiko than Gary Russell for, right?
No, Kiko was a good fighter. So I don't know. Did that make you cry?
What, Scott Quigg retiring?
Retiring, yeah.
No, Gary.
Okay, but $1 Million Crawler did. Like, is there that much of a difference, really? Besides Quigg knock people out between Crawler and.
There's between crying and emotional, Gary. You don't have to cry every time you get emotional, right? Suck it up a bit. Pound the chest, damn. But yeah, Kiko Martinez, yeah, probably, maybe, yeah. I would say. Would you say so?
That was the name because he lost to Frampton. Close, good fight with Frampton, right?
Well, yeah.
I'm trying to.
Good fight.
Great fight. I'm trying to think. Does he have any other major names that he? I can't think of any off the top of my head.
You're being sarcastic, right, about the Frampton Quigg fight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
I remember that fight being so disappointing. Like, that fight was a big unification at the time, and it just did not deliver at all. But digressing, let's talk about briefly the undercard here. Zach Parker defeating Rohan Murdoch. Really, I think good performance from Zach Parker, who I think is continuing to look like a really good prospect. Huey Fury pick up a win against Pavel Sor in the third round. Whoop-de fucking do. Anthony Fowler picking up a win in the first round against Theophilus Teta. All I gotta say is, guys, please watch that fight. I know Rob's gonna say don't, but please watch the fight. Like a round. It is so worth it, guys. Okay, go take some edibles, some edible gummies, as Bob Aaron would say, and just have a blast with that one.
So you totally skipped Zach Parker fight on this one?
That was the first one I mentioned in the undercard.
You didn't watch it? You don't want to talk about it?
No.
Parker looked great. Like, Parker's going to be a player at 68.
I said I watched it. I'm just running down the undercard so we don't waste 30 minutes of the show talking about the Jonah Carroll card.
Well, Zach Parker deserves a mention.
And then we're gonna come back to certain undercard fights we want to talk about. I'm just running down the list. That's all, Rob.
Okay. I thought you were doing it in order. That was all.
I did do it in order. The first fight I mentioned was Zach Parker.
He did.
Jonah Carroll, and then it would have been.
Rob wanted to wave the flag for Zach Parker. It was a really good performance. I think
said Zach Parker.
I don't think Rob was paying attention, and he wanted to.
The next one after that, before that.
I said it after Quigg. Like, that was the first fight I mentioned on the undercard. I said Zach Parker defeating Rohan Murdoch. We looked really good prospect. Or looked really good. I think he's an improved prospect.
Harry was going to jump in because he was.
No. I want to go through the undercard. Then we can come back to. Damn it, Rob.
I'm a little rusty. You've been
gone so zen. Coming into.
You've been gone so long. I forgot how to do it.
Carry
on.
Jack Colin defeated Tomas Andreas Reneso, and I gotta say, Reneso's Cobra tattoo. Wow. Robbie Davis Jr. defeating Damon Leonardo Yapor, Rashad Matty defeating Abdallah Lunar, and that's all that I care about. I did not see the Robbie Davis Jr. fight or the Rashad Matty fight. Unfortunately, I'll go back and watch those. Just haven't had time. But let's talk about the Zach Parker fight. I know you guys are talking about the most live because I was, checking on the text messages and seeing what you guys were talking about during the event. I wasn't watching it. Zach Parker looks really good. Like, what's his ceiling at 168? Or is he another Joey Spencer?
You gotta stop. Is Joey Spencer 160 or 168?
No, 154.
Oh, Spencer's 154. Oh, too bad.
Wait, no, he's 160.
He's 160, right?
My bad.
Maybe he'll grow into a super middleweight. We can get a Zach Parker. No, Zach Parker's got a lot of. Rob, this is your guy, right? So you wanted to wave the flag. I'll let you go, and then I'll probably just follow suit because I was really impressed too.
No, like this was. I thought this was your guy. You were the one in the chat, straight in there. Wow, Zach Parker, what a performance!
No, I mean, look, he has to fight someone better than a prospect. Rohan Murdoch. I mean, that's not really a world beater. But I think he's going to be a player. The skills are there. I think he's going to be a player at 68. Can he be a world champ? I don't know, but I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, the skills are all there. He looks really good. The problem is there's going to be guys like Canelo and Caleb Plant at 68. That's going to be a problem.
Going to be interesting. A step up before a world title shot just to see.
Yeah.
That would be quite telling just to see where he is. But
let him beat up on Porky Medina.
Yeah, the problem is 168, man. Like there's like
yeah.
After like the top 5, there's such a drop off in talent. Like it becomes almost where like you have to make a super giant leap in competition level at some point in this division. There's no gradual climb up the rankings. Once you get to like the number 10 spot, you're still fighting relatively, how to put it, guys that are probably just club level guys, not truly world level guys, being quite honest. You know, that top 5 to 8, maybe 7, that's some truly world level talent. And there's no one like that in the top 15, top 20 that can really replicate that.
Let me throw out 2 names. Gabe Rosado.
I would love that fight.
John Ryder.
That's probably a little bit of a tougher fight, but yeah, I would like that fight. Those are 2 good
Those
fights.
are the 2 names that came to my mind. If he can handle those guys, then he's ready for Jacobs or whoever they want to give him at 68. Because there's nowhere else to go, right? I mean, if you beat one of those guys, then the next logical step is one of those top 5 names.
Rob, did you find the Dougie Fisher tweet by chance? Are you still looking for it? Rob, you're muted. Rob,
yeah, I'm looking.
Okay, I wasn't looking at you when I asked that, so I didn't see what you did. But digressing, any other thoughts on this undercard, guys? I mean, Anthony Fowler, Hughie Fury, anything like that?
Well, Rob, and I don't think you ever weighed in. Rob said Hughie Fury dominates FA. What do you think of that? And did this performance do anything to change your mind one way or another on Hughie Fury?
Dominates?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what Rob said, right?
I'm just making sure that's the word we're using here.
I can look back in the chat if you want.
But it was that I'm getting the sentiment right, correct?
If you think he beats him, that's completely fine. I have no issue.
He batters him, I think.
Batters.
Well, I mean, I don't know if we want to get to that card right now, but like I thought Jogba looked vastly improved from his last fight.
I think so too.
I'm not saying that he's good enough to beat top 15, top 20 guys, which Hughie Fury is, but it made me not question his potential. And I think his potential is being a top 20 heavyweight at some point. Not being a champion. I don't think he has that in him quite per se, but he's definitely going to be a top 20 guy at some point in time, maybe even perennially speaking, because he's a really technically a sound offensive fighter. Defensively, he still drastically struggles. But offensively, he's improving a lot, being more efficient, being more defensively mindful when he's throwing combinations. We saw in his last fight before this, him getting dropped, chasing his opponent, screwing up. We saw him just commit really heinous fouls and sins being the offensive fighter. And he didn't do that in this fight. And plus, he went to the body a lot. He used the jab, I think, in an expert way. I mean, you look at other guys in the heavyweight division, even Deontay Wilder, and we say we want him to use the jab more. FA came in here and used the jab more, and he worked behind it. He went to the body more. I thought he looked great, to be quite honest. Now, I don't know if I would pick him to beat Hughie Fury. I don't think Hughie Fury dominates that at all. I don't. I think Hughie Fury, even in this fight with Pavel Sor, the first round or two, I'm like, damn, Hughie Fury's going to hit a lot. Kind of looking a little bit sluggish here. It just so happened that Pavel Sor is a legit nobody that's 11-2 fighter. So Hughie Fury can just kind of bully him in round 3 and push him down. That's kind of what happened. But F.A. Ajagba is not Pavel Sor. He's a far better opponent. I could see, really optimistically speaking, F.A. could be like the next Pulev, where he's not the most exciting guy, but he kind of blows out guys that are top 50, 40 guys. But the top 20 guys, he's gonna have to use the jab. He's gonna have to box. He's gonna be a little more boring to beat. But yeah, Rob, I don't know if you want to interject here, but I don't think Fury dominates or batters FA. I just don't see that, especially after FA looked, again, so much better in this fight compared to his last one against Razvan Kajanu, who obviously lost to Joseph Parker, and who else did he lose to? Trezor?
He's lost to Dubois. He's lost to did Gorman fight him as well? I think Gorman fought him as well.
You might be right about that.
Didn't Luis Ortiz knock him out when Wilder was ringside? Was that Kajani?
I think you're right. I think you're right about that. Yes. He's lost to a bunch of top 15 guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought FA's there to be hit. I think he took some shots off Kajani. Just they were off Kajani, that's all. No, I just think Hughie Fury actually letting his right hand go with purpose. I just saw a different side to him. I don't want to see him on the back foot. All right, it's just my opinion. And yeah, I just see him easily handling FA. I only said it in our chat just to get a rise anyway. I don't know why this has come up on the show, but I still think it's true.
Because there are a lot of PBC fanboys out there who think FA is the next Lennox Lewis or something.
Yeah.
The problem with FA is he's so robotic and mechanical, right? It's just like jab. Like he looks like a robot version of Evander Holyfield. His combinations are good like Evander's, but they're so like mechanical. Like I don't know. Like there's no rhythm to him. Like I don't know. I just he seems like a guy you can easily time and pick apart at a high level. And he's like I don't know. He's good, but like
talking about FA.
Yeah, FA. Doesn't he look really, really robotical and like mechanical to you?
Yeah. Absolutely. Looks like a late starter.
But like there's no like rhythm. There's no I don't know. It's just like jab. Like
yeah. I agree. I thought how about this way? There was moments in this fight against Razvan Khalilov he beat him. I thought he beat him quite in dominant fashion as well. Whenever he was throwing in combination, it worked. It worked every time. On top of it, I think if you give him another 2-3 years, he's going to be a perennial top 20 guy because it's that division, and he is that good. Like he is still good enough to be that.
He's got power. He's fundamentally sound. Yeah, he'll be a top 20 guy. How much higher than that? I don't know. Is he better than Joe Joyce?
No, of course not. No, Joe Joyce beat Brian Jennings and
okay.
So like it. Yeah, no, it's not possible.
I'm not high on Joe Joyce, but probably he's not that good. Yeah,
I would pick Joe Joyce to win right now. That's for sure. Because he can move laterally far better than Ajagba. That just alone. Yeah,
well, you just have to program Ajagba to move laterally.
You have to. You get a computer. Yes. We'll talk about obviously the notable marquee fight of the weekend, which was Robert Helenius knocking out Adam Kwiatkowski. How do we?
I'm going with Kwiatkowski. I'm pronouncing the C like an S. That's what I'm going with.
Robert,
you guys can say it how you want. I'm going with Kwiatkowski.
How did Brian Kenny pronounce it again? I'm forgetting.
Kwiatkowski.
Okay.
Kwiatkowski.
I feel like he added a V in there that just didn't.
The W can be a V. The W can make a V sound.
Okay, but we're saying the N before the V.
I don't know, man.
Am I wrong? Right, we're saying Kanofsky. There was a V after the N all of a sudden by Brian Kenny. I'm so confused, but digressing. He was honestly winning the fight, and then all of a sudden he didn't win the fight. That's largely due to him not having any semblance of defense, not slipping off the center line at all, eating shots. It was weird because, obviously I watched it more, live, air quotes. I was just about to, we were pre-game. We were about to go out to the bar that night. And I want to say I saw it on Instagram or Twitter, and I just saw it from the first knockdown on, right? So it was kind of, I didn't have a really good perception of it. And then I watched it, obviously, the full fight. And it was all of a sudden, boom, he kind of clipped him going backwards, went down, looked fine, and then boom, clipped him again, and he was not fine at all. Speaking of Konofsky, he just got battered after that first knockdown. I really don't know what to think of this other than, yes, Konofsky has no defense. That is not surprising. Yes, he's going to lose to top 20-ish guys like Robert Helenius, but he was still winning most of this fight. So I don't know, other than adding, hey, slipping off the center line, there's not much you need to look at, I think, in this fight to improve on. Again, other than slipping off the fucking center line, which is extremely basic. But guys, thoughts on this upset, because it was a pretty massive upset.
I think if they fought 10 times, Konofsky would win the other 9. I think this was just, he got caught up in the moment. He was doing well for a while, and I think he got clipped. And Helenius is a big dude. He hurt him, and then he just never recovered. I know there's no rematch clause, but I think they will make a rematch because I don't know how many other options. Like, who the hell wants to fight Helenius with a bigger name than Konofsky? So I think they will make a rematch, and I think it'll be one-sided. We've seen Helenius before. He's not good. So Konofsky is good. Am I wrong? Am I any lies detected in saying Helenius isn't good?
Define good.
He unloaded nicely on him. I thought
he landed a good shot.
And he was landing on the back foot quite effortlessly, landing the jab a lot, landing the right hand.
The referee done Kovnowski dirty because he called it a slip and just said, "Get up, carry on."
Yeah, how was that a slip? What kind of slip
it was
is
a bit wobbly, and it was game on, carry on, come on.
The weird thing was that the ref was in the right position. He was right there, and they got hit with a good shot, and he went down. He was like, slip.
Get up, carry on. No, can you give me a count? Let me try and get my fucking head back. Jesus. And
I slipped bad and hurt myself.
Yeah, I don't know. Just racking up all these mandatories for Joshua, right?
Helenius is not going to get a shot. They'll order something. Helenius, I mean, come on.
Look, this was an eliminator. We don't know if it was an eliminator for an intro for the regular. We don't know if it was the eliminator for the gold. We don't know. If it was...
It's yet to be determined. Is that?
I don't know.
Was it a WBA eliminator?
Yes.
Oh, come on! It's eliminator for Trevor Bryan, Mahmoud Char, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fight to quest world peace, some bullshit. What's the tagline? Don King's epic quest for world peace.
Epic quest for peace. Yeah.
It's an admirable goal.
That's all one aspect to make a regular title fight in boxing.
What good is world peace when coronavirus is going to take everybody out?
We can have world peace while we get ravaged by a pandemic. It would just be peaceful. Anyways, Konofsky was supposed to fight Andy Ruiz most likely next, right? That was the plan. He obviously lost. Are we now expecting the Andy Ruiz Chris Arreola fight to be announced sometime in the near future? Because that was the backup fight for, I think, the Fox Staples event, I'm going to assume. Gary?
Forum.
Yes.
No, it's a good fight, and it makes sense for a West Coast, a California fight, a Southern California fight. So, yeah, I expect that fight to get made, and I have no objections to that fight. Like Konofsky needs to go back. He needs to get a win. I'd go make a rematch. I'd sit down with Helenius and say, okay, Fury's not going to fight you. Joshua's not going to fight you. And AJ's not going to fight you. So none of the three big names are going to fight you. Okay, so your best option is Konofsky. Go take the fight and lose. And then, let Konofsky get that win back, and then...
Hold on. Why not like a Deontay Wilder tune-up if the trilogy fight falls out somehow? I'm just saying that's not going to fall out.
Is that a tune-up you want to take? I guess.
Let's say for some unforeseen world catastrophe.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder fight doesn't happen. That'd be a great tune-up.
Okay. You want to wait on a Wilder fight? You want to wait till the Fury fight is official? Okay. I'm telling you right now that fight's going to get made, so you're not going to fight Wilder. But if you want to wait and then fight Konofsky, you can do that.
Or why not just wait? Why not just wait till like the last quarter of the year? So they're fighting in July, right? So you can fight the loser of that fight, and we're all thinking it's going to be Deontay Wilder unless he makes massive adjustments. I could see that. December, January fight. Helenius taking the next 6 months off.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not unlikely. Because Hellenius did pick up a big win. Like if I'm Hellenius, I picked up a big win. I want to position myself now for a bigger fight. A Wanoski rematch makes no sense. He's not entitled to it, so why would I give him that? If anything, it just devalues me and stops my momentum in the division. I'm leaning somewhere else. I'm looking for another big fight. Whether it's a Dylan White after Povetkin, let's say, whether it's a Joseph Parker maybe, who just picked up a win. That would be a good name to go fight next if you're Robert Hellenius.
He lost to Dillian White and who else?
Who?
Hellenius.
He's lost to White before, and then he's lost to.
I know we've seen him a bunch of times. I know he's lost a bunch of times to.
God, I'm trying to remember. Hold on, I'll look it up right now since Rob's being no help over there.
And then as far as Kwanoski, how big is this? Like just a speed bump, or is this like a big sign of things to come that he's not at the highest level? Like is this a sign that he's not a top 10 guy, or is this just a speed bump where he came in ill prepared and got caught?
Here's the thing with heavyweight division: the top 10, especially the bottom half of the top 10, is always interchangeable with the top 20, top 30. If we're being quite honest. There's guys that fall out of that 10 spot or that 9 spot all the time.
Yeah.
Wanoski's probably going to be one of those guys that can slip in here and there. There'll be a 6 month, a year stretch where he's in the top 10 for most people. And then he's going to be a top 15, top 20 guy. That's not a knock on him per se, but I think that's just kind of his ceiling. And I'll be honest, that was kind of my perception of him before this fight as well.
I guess so, but I was starting to buy into him. Like, Luis Ortiz is always a top 10 guy. So, I mean, his ceiling is in that. He can't be as good as Luis Ortiz, where he's always in the top 10.
He's lost to Jared Washington and Johan Duhaupas. And he beat Derek Chisora. 2011.
Wow. So that's
and he beat Samuel Peter,
who was probably 100 years old.
Layman Brewster.
All right, so Hellenius might not. He's got. That's credible. I mean, you can keep making excuses, but he did beat those guys, right? You can say this guy was old. This was 10 years ago, but he did beat those guys. So he's not as bad as probably we're saying he is.
Hellenius was fairly hyped coming through. I think early days. He was
like a Pulev. He had that low bit.
Who was it said in the amateurs? It was like, oh, so and so's going over who's he drawn? Hellenius. Ooh, it was always like you didn't want to catch Hellenius in the Amis either or something, right? So
lunatic in the chat. Chisora was robbed, to be honest. Massive robbery. I mean, to his credit, the fight was in Helsinki, not in the UK. So that is maybe there was some bullshit there.
Did it go to the cards or was it?
Yes, I want to say so. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if it was robbery, then yeah, I want to say so. Yes, split decision. 113, 115 scorecards all around.
Okay. Maybe it was a bogus decision.
100% lost to Chisora and got a gift. Hellenius lost to Duhaupas, Washington, and White.
Yeah, but he beat the same fucking Peter, guys.
He wanted who's next, if you remember. Greatest interview / worst interview of all time.
Any other thoughts, guys, on fights this weekend? I think who beat DeWalco on this card? Sanchez was his name. I don't have it up. I'll try to get it up really fast. Frank Sanchez picked up a win against Joey DeWalco. I thought he looked really good, actually. And that's all I saw.
There wasn't much on that card, right? Like, you should have gave me at least a decent undercard if you're going to give me, I don't want to say a garbage main event, but a garbage main event.
Yes, agreed. Are you guys ready to move on to the news in the boxing world?
Yeah, sure.
Any other hot takes about Huey Fury battering F.A. Ajagba there, Rob?
That is Hellenius as well.
That much... he beats him. Again, like...
I don't know about that.
I do.
He beat Pavel Sor. Who is that?
That's a little...
Who is that?
He went the distance with America's next Hope. Jermaine
Who?
Franklin.
Oh. Yeah, I remember I saw that guy fight on a showbox card. I'm like, why? Like, why am I watching this? This is like shitty heavyweight club fights. I don't ever want to watch this on my free time. Ever.
I tell you what, club boxing, club level boxing, really, really underrated.
No, it is. Heavyweight club level boxing?
I agree. Not
no,
good. Not great.
No. Get the fuck out of here with that shit, man. Fucking devil. Moving on. Let's talk about the news in the boxing world. Canelo Alvarez, Joe Saunders. It's made, it's not made, who knows? Mike Carpenter reporting sources. Alvarez to fight Joe Saunders in May. Canelo Alvarez sort of refuted this news himself. Dan Rayfield did, even though ESPN also reported the same thing on the same day. And also Dougie Fisher now is saying that all these guys want $12 million for the fight, when I want to say Jacobs was got like what, 13, 15 million for his fight. Guys, thoughts on all of this? Thoughts on the the Canelo Alvarez, Joe Saunders fight? Thoughts on the negotiations? Thoughts on why it is taking so goddamn long to get this fight made? And thoughts, in a sort of a second or third order question, guys, because this is the worldwide mega distribution for DAZN, right? This is their opening fight, the opening event to showcase their product to the world. Are they hurting themselves by prolonging this more and more and more? Guys, thoughts?
I think
answer that after thoughts on the negotiations, because I want to get to that first. Thoughts on why it is what it is and why there is this seeming holdup in this fight.
I believe it's because of this DAZN wanting Triple G in September, and Canelo using this as leverage to get what he wants out of it.
Since Rob is bringing that up, let me just quickly show people what you're talking about. Tom Towser wrote a piece in Boxing Scene talking about John Skipper meeting directly with Canelo and his inside team to sort of circumvent Golden Boy because of Golden Boy and Canelo's issues, let's say. And part of what they brought up was a deal for him to fight Joe Saunders now, Triple G in September, and then Ryota Murata in Japan in December as well, and to add some incentives to the contract for that to happen. Back to you, Rob. I just want to present the information to the public.
Yeah, so I think Canelo's just holding out, seeing what he can get out of this. I think the fight's going to get done, but I don't know. For a lot of people, Billy Joe Saunders is going to need a bit of a promotion for this. Because what are we now? 7? Is it 7 weeks?
Is it only 7 weeks now?
I think so. What are we now? March. What are we? What's the month? 10.
It's March 10th. It's March
1, 2, 3, 4. Just around 7 or so. Yeah, just 7 and a bit.
Well, good thing is that I think everyone's training already. You know what I mean? I think obviously Canelo's in training camp already. We have Eddie Reneso saying that he's fighting Billy Joe Saunders last week or the week before. I forget when that was. 2 weeks ago. I think there is some holdups and sort of like crossing some T's and dotting some I's on that particular deal. I wonder if that is the holdup. Now, Rob, thoughts on whether or not this will affect their big debut for their app worldwide? Them not having enough time to sort of promote it, push it.
Well, I think the DAZN app globally, or at least here, is not going to go live until like very end of April. We might catch a few bits, like some I think get that run on it at the beta version of it, but I don't think it's going to massively affect it. Again, this is a niche thing aimed at, and a certain amount of people worldwide that will want to tune in for a Canelo fight. So they know it's going to be happening. They'll know potentially, I guess, that where it's going to be if you want to watch it. I'm sure there's going to be. I remember Aficionados talking about this with Chris Mannix, but like, you think of the marketing money that's going to, like, DAZN are going to have to put out to let 200 plus countries know that this is a new thing in your country. So that's going to be like an insane push and marketing. But
and on that take quickly, it was reported by Jason Cruz of Bloody Elbow MMA Payout that DAZN did get their $500 million investment from, I forget who they were looking for, what investment firm.
It was Goldman Sachs, wasn't it?
I think you're right. So they got that allegedly.
Yeah, so I don't know if it hugely affects it. It's again, they're going global with at the minute just boxing, and from that they're going to get analytics plus feedback and this and the other, and then they'll decide those markets where they maybe invest more heavily in sports rights and things like that. I believe Australia is a big one they're looking potentially at. I think India apparently is cropped up on their radar as quite a significant place that might be a good place for them to invest money, and like just lots of others. Obviously, we've talked about when it comes to the Sky deal being up over here, so that'll be a big one. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this sort of plays out. But I'm surely we're going to get an announcement. I think I've said, yeah, we should get an announcement this week for the last 3 weeks. So who knows? But
I think like all parties actually do know, and they're just
again, just from interviews and stuff. Eddie says they know how much we want. We're not far away now. Once we get what we want, then it'll be done. I can't think of others, but yeah, Coppage is saying, it's a done thing. It's this, that, and the other. There's just waiting for contracts to be signed or whatever. So who knows?
See, that's like a conflicting statement. It's a done deal, except we're waiting for contracts to be signed. Well, then nothing's done, right? Like, I mean, I don't until the contracts are signed, we don't have anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean. But I think it's all expectation is this, that, and the other. So done deal, blah blah blah. But
and here's what I think more so, because obviously we just to bring it in, Gary, I know you haven't talked yet, and I want to swing it to you after I bring this up. Dougie Fisher out there saying that everyone wants 12 million, LOL, or LOL. They all want 12 million was his exact word. Sorry, I'm blocked on Twitter, so I can't bring it up. But him being paid directly from Golden Boy Promotions, since Golden Boy Promotions, aka Oscar De La Hoya, is a majority owner of the Ring magazine. I think there's a little bit of putting information out there to the public in terms of leverage and negotiations. I think they're 100% trying to nickel and dime Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith as many millions as they can. Okay, and they're in a tough position because they're looking at what Jacobs got and other guys got and said, no, we need to get something equal to that or equivalent to that in some fashion, because if not, then we're not getting what we deserve in this current market that you have made, Canelo and DAZN. So I think it was reported what the first one, the first number we saw was 7.7 something million, right, Rob, for Billy Joe Saunders?
I think that was the first figure that
was thrown out to the public.
Yeah.
I think that number is what Golden Boy wants to pay these guys.
Well,
and they want to get paid 12, 13, 15 million because that's what other guys have been getting for this fight in this market.
Apparently, Callum Smith wanted 10. That's what
10. I thought is a reasonable number. But if Danny Jacobson, for what I heard, and unofficially got about 13 million, he's a bigger star than y'all. Like he is. He's a bigger draw than Billy Joe Saunders or Caleb Smith in the U.S. No, Danny Jacobs isn't?
I mean, maybe slightly in the U.S., but dude, he was pulling like 500,000 viewers on HBO. The dude has never been a draw. Never been a ticket draw, never been a TV draw. Like, Daniel Jacobs got 13, 14 million, and he was never a draw. We just got the Chavez numbers out.
What were the Chavez numbers? Were they not good?
No.
Ooh, I thought those were too good.
No, it was like 8,000 total attendance, ton of comps, and the gate was what, $400,000 or something like that?
The Peter Quillen fight, that didn't do good numbers?
No, not really.
All right, maybe I'm overestimating Danny Jacobs' star. I thought he was,
and in the context of DAZN being a worldwide product now, more so than ever, and Canelo now being more so of a worldwide brand, at least being pushed as that. Yeah, I think it matters to get a guy like Billy Joe Saunders, Conor Smith, a guy from a different market, different country entirely, and bringing that in compared to just Daniel Jacobs, who brings out 100,000 people from the tri-state area. Whoop-de-fucking do, bro.
It seems like that's a 13 million, 12.
And to add, Billy Joe Saunders is a 2-division champion. Fuck out of here. Regardless of the ramifications of him getting that belt,
he is. No, he is.
2-division champion. Jacobs was a champion in 1 division.
Kind of a champion. He
had 2 losses before the Canelo fight.
I'm not worried about that.
In negotiations, you are.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
If I'm Golden Boy,
oh, you're right.
I'm not going away. If I'm Billy Joe Saunders, I'm thinking I'm a 2-division undefeated champion. You gave a guy with a couple losses and only a 1-division champion $15 million. Fuck, I'm getting that. I deserve that. I'm bringing in an entire country here, even though that may not be true.
But that country doesn't like him. But you're right. You're right. That's his negotiation, right?
That's his negotiation. That's what he said.
I guess it just seems to me like Billy Joe's. More people know and root for Danny Jacobs than Billy Joe, but maybe I'm pulling that out of perspective. Maybe he's not as big a star as I thought. That Canelo Jacobs fight seemed like a really big fight. This doesn't. This seems just like it's a Canelo fight, Canelo versus somebody. But
and to add another piece, this is DAZN's first Canelo fight in the UK where Sky doesn't have it. So if you get a Saunders or a Smith, and now you have the UK rights now to that fight, big. It's big. It's a lot bigger than Jacobs.
So you don't think Jacobs brought any more luster to the table than Billy Joe or Caleb Smith?
No, not in terms of any measurable amount. No, not really.
Then they should try to
global. I don't think when it was just the US and it was Canelo Jacobs, that meant more, I think. But now it's, then that was up to other countries. Do you want to buy this fight? Do you want to buy this fight? Do you want to buy it? Do you want to broadcast it? Now they're global. Obviously, they've looked at it. If it's a UK guy, UK's a big market. This, that, and the other. But
then he should hold firm to 12 million then, or 13. Just do that.
I will add to the point of the whole. It's DAZN versus Sky. This is DAZN versus Sky, and getting a Sky fighter on your first boxing card in the UK, massive. It's a massive shot across the bow to Sky. It is, right?
That just seems like so much. Yeah.
It's 4-dimensional chess, but come on, Gary, like you've worked with big corporations. You know this. Corporations think this way. They're petty as fuck. They do. In terms of their competitors and competing with their competitors, they get grimy. They get dirty. And that would be such a masterstroke of a move by DAZN and their minds to get Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders. That's why John Skipper went to Canelo directly and said, I want to make this fight.
These purses are huge now, like 12 or 13 million. But if that's what the market is, like Dak Prescott allegedly turned down a $32 million contract. Like, are you crazy? If that's what the market is, that's what it is, right? Like, if you can get more than that, get more than that. It just seems like that number, 12 or 13 million, seems like that jumped off the page to me. And then Rob's like, Canelo Smith got almost 10 million for the dopey World Boxing Super Series. Like, what? Like that. Okay, if that's what the purses are now, that's what they are now. Then
that was Saudi money, although I don't know.
Okay, well, it's 10 million, right? So
that was 3 fights, I guess, but the majority,
the most of it was for that last fight, though.
Yeah.
That means more than 5 million of it was for just one fight, which is crazy. Like him, let's say you got paid $5.1 million for the Groves fight. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
So people out there, I think, slamming Smith for wanting 10 million. It's like he's seen big money, and this is Canelo. Everyone knows this is the. I see people saying, why does Canelo have to pay these guys career high paydays? But I don't know. They've paid
because you value you offer the fight to me, right? Like 10 would have been the number that I would have argued for, but Matt makes a good point. Like, Billy Joe is no less of a star than Danny Jacobs, plus he brings in another market. So why would he take less than Jacobs? You've already set the precedence with 12 or 13 million to Jacobs. So now that's the new status quo. I'm getting 12 or 13 million, right? And you can see these guys are holding steady to that. You know, so either pay me 12 to 13 million, or you can find someone else. And Kalen Smith's saying the same thing. So now you have to keep going down the line. And
Gary, you suddenly got all ballsy. You said you'd never be like this.
Look, I would have jumped at 10 million, but if I'm my agent, I would say just chill on that. I'll get you more than that, right? Me personally, yeah. If someone offered me 10 million, I'm taking the 10 million. But logically, you should be able to get more than that because Jacobs did. You know what I'm saying? And you're saying that he's not any less of a star than Jacobs. So, well, then why would you take less money?
That would sell out AT&T, right? You and Canelo, Texas boy, and everything.
Absolutely.
I'd do numbers.
I can't make 168 though, so that's out.
175. Good. Yeah. Briefly though, let's bring it back to the whole 3-fight deal from John Skipper. Though I want to isolate that as a topic for later when I clip this out, obviously. But John Skipper meeting with Canelo Alvarez directly, not with Golden Boy, because Golden Boy versus Canelo has been a whole thing, and offering Billy Saunders in May, Triple G in September, and then Murata in December with added incentives to sort of hope that he can get this deal across the board. Guys, thoughts on this 3-fight sort of added package within the 11-fight DAZN deal for Canelo? Do you think Canelo is going to accept this 3-fight package from DAZN? Do you think what do you think those incentives are? Is it just purely monetary incentives? Added 10 million bonus or whatever it may be for this fight or that fight. And do we think we get Canelo Saunders, Canelo Triple G, and Canelo Murata this year? Guys, Rob, Gary,
where did Gary go?
Oh, you want to go? Go ahead.
I didn't even hear it. You answer it, and I'll figure out what
it's. How much more can they really offer to pay this guy? How much more can these incentives really be?
I think it might be like equity or something.
That's what I was thinking too. It can't
be deal. He's been getting per fight. He's been getting shares or whatever, isn't he, or something like that? Equity in the company. So I don't think Canelo had that in his deal. It was like you're good with $365 million, right? Yeah, but now we're going global and we're using you to do it. Here, have some of the company kind of.
That's what I was thinking. It's got to be some type of ownership or some kind of interest in the company, which now you've sweetened the pot, right? Like now you're like hedging on yourself. Well, how big can I make this company? How much can this company grow off of me? That would be hard.
Bet on yourself like Kalinowski did.
Or if I'm Canelo, I'd want an extra 15 million. I'm cool with that. I don't want the equity. This company might be dead in fucking 5-10 years.
Yeah, but what if it's the next Amazon? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what's always outside Matt's window. He always has when you speak, he always looks out the window.
I'm not saying it's going to be the next Amazon, but like Amazon started as a bookstore, right? It was the best way to buy books online, and now look at it, right? Like one.
Exactly, Gary. DAZN is a boxing channel that down the line you can get everything on DAZN.
Right. It's the greatest company in the history of companies.
It's gonna be. Not yet. They're the fourth. Or what did they win just recently? The fourth most innovative. Really clever.
Innovative.
I always say diversify. Don't only buy DAZN. That's it. Put all of your eggs in the DAZN basket.
Global domination.
Global domination.
We're gonna move on to the next topic, guys. I'm back to it,
Gary. We did it.
Yes or no? Do we think Canelo accepts his 3-fight package from John Skipper?
Yeah, I think we'll get it.
Yeah.
I believe before this, there was slight reports of Canelo was maybe softening around the whole I'm never letting Triple G fight me ever again thing. It was kind of easing off.
No, stick to it. You beat him. Just like Marquez with Pacquiao. No, I'm done with you.
No, here's the thing.
He didn't beat him.
The first, it's 0-1-1. That's what the rivalry is right now. It's 0-1-1. It's the same with Wilder Fury. I need some finality. I want 4 fights because eventually we're gonna have 1-1-1. I want 2-1-1. So I want 4 fights amongst these most.
I get it. It's just
you think if they fight in September, Triple G wins?
No, but I mean,
I thought you wanted 1-1-1.
I mean that's probably not gonna happen. So you're right. We're probably gonna have 2-0-1.
And then we're done.
And then we're done. And then we're done.
Two of those being.
But if Triple G wins, I want a 4th fight. That's for damn sure.
Oh, if Triple G wins,
Triple
right?
G, dig your heels in. Tell him to go fuck himself. Get super petty, Triple G. Get that win and just retire.
Oh, that'd be funny.
It's just like Triple G to me. Again, there's nothing wrong with the fight, but Triple G is not in his prime anymore. So he already beat him. What would beating him again while he's even older? You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right.
Anyway, we're going to get obviously the new face of boxing, Billy Joe Saunders, Triple G in September.
What if Billy Joe wins that? His ego is going to be out of control.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, man. I can't wait. I think it's going to be funny.
The best part is that Rob is going to pick Canelo by stoppage.
No, I got Canelo by points. I think Billy Joe is big enough, strong enough, and obviously moves well enough to go the distance. I don't think he'll get. He could. I think he'll go the distance.
We'll see.
And he'll win some rounds in the process too.
It'll be official before we start doing picks. I want to see more in-camp footage.
Billy Joe likes to eat chocolate, which is why he
wobbled him coming out the corner like that. I don't want to see that.
Listeners, Rob is so scared to jump off script and pick against the here, guys. I hope everyone is aware of that.
No, I think Billy Joe's got it all to do. I think he's in tough. If he gets this fight, he's in real tough.
I think I'm with Gary. I think Billy Joe's a good enough mover. He's quick enough. He's talented enough. He survives 12 rounds easy. Kovalev was too static, and he was trying to be a mover, and that's just not him. And that's why he got caught eventually. Because he's not Billy Joe Saunders, but you're trying to be Billy Joe Saunders in that fight. You get my point? Moving on, though, because we have to for the sake of time. This was reported last week. I just didn't touch on it because I kind of forgot to touch on it. So we're going to touch on it now. Mike Copper's and sources tell The Athletic the fight between Gervonta Davis and Leo Santa Cruz is in advanced discussions. The deal is completed, will likely land summertime in Los Angeles. Whoopie fucking do. I mean, we all know this fight's going to happen at some point in the next 6 months, so just get over with.
Did it say what weight is being talked about?
No, it did not.
All right.
We assume it's gonna be pay-per-view because that's what everyone's been saying on that side of the street.
How many bucks?
200,000 maybe.
Gary,
I can't see it doing more than that. 200. I'll go 200. I think that's a fair number.
Because I think this fight is an easier sell than like Crawford Postal for sure.
Is it a bigger fight than Ward Kovalev though? Or will it just be promoted better?
I think it'd be promoted better.
Yeah, that's why I say it does a little bit more.
Ward Kovalev's a better fight. This would be a bigger fight slightly. And again, slightly. Like Ward Kovalev was 165. Like if this is 200, that's only 35 more. Like that's not a huge amount more, but it's notable enough.
With between 10 and 20 million illegal streams.
I'm just curious when they fucking address his legal issues and how they address it. I'm just waiting for that. Because obviously Gervonta just didn't post on social media for like a few weeks, and now he's slowly posting more.
Did you see he tweeted, "I just want to fight," and then he quote tweeted himself and said, "In the ring, I mean."
That was his baby moms, and they're still together, right?
No,
they're not.
No,
or they were up until that point.
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I was going to say, like, if she drops the charges, there's nothing you can do.
No, as far as I know, the charges have not been dropped.
Okay.
So, I mean, the case is still proceeding as it will go. You know, these things take time as well. Look at the Kovalev case that was still somehow going through.
No, he's just racking them up as he goes. He's like, well, if you're not going to punish me for that one, I'll just keep doing shit.
That's why you got that DUI. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Shout out to Alex Jones getting DUI as well, and I think it was.
Oh, I saw that. I thought was that real?
Yeah, that's
okay.
You fucking bastard. Moving on. It's official, guys. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, and interesting enough, not going to be a main event in MSG or the theater, as I think it was previously reported or thought about. It's going to be the co-main event to Dylan White, Alexander Povetkin in the Manchester Arena on May 2nd on that pay-per-view card. Right? That's pay-per-view card, right? I'm not. Yeah, duh. It's White, of course, pay-per-view. Obviously, this is a great fight. Don't get me wrong. I like this fight. Thoughts on it being paired with White Povetkin, though? Because this was obviously going to be a Matchroom US card at some point, and even DAZN in the press release talking about going global, right? Said they were going to have Katie Taylor's next fight, or alluded to that, that Katie Taylor's going to be featured worldwide and such. So, thoughts on this move for Taylor Serrano to now be a co-main event and not be a main event in the US? Overall, I'm not against it. I find it peculiar. I find it odd. I did not expect this to happen, per se. But obviously, it just makes a card really deep, in my opinion, having these two fights be the doubleheader. Rob, I want your thoughts on this. Taylor Serrano being official. Thoughts on it now being on the White Povetkin card, not being in the US and being its own main event in this all women's card that was talked about at some point as well. Thoughts on this change for this fight?
Yeah, it's sort of a shame in one respect that this isn't doing its own card, and we were going to get the women's thing. But I think coming over here pay-per-view, I think they're probably maximizing the money for this fight. This is really going to boost Dillian White Povetkin ticket sales, because Manchester was crazy for, I think it was on the Crawler farewell fight, right? Katie Taylor went for the 140 title, and the place was, packed out for that. And like I say, pay-per-view, I think it will. I think they're obviously getting the most money out of the fight that they can. I think by doing it here on the pay-per-view card, I think it's maximizing their earnings. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I say, it would have been nice for it to be like a main event just for the women's side of the sport. But I've got I'm not outraged by it or anything like that. Still,
no, not at all. I'm just,
yeah.
It feels like you said, like it has its positives and negatives for Friday the Or, right? It being its own main event, and like I say, the small theater at MSG, it being an all women's boxing card, that would have been awesome. It adding a lot of depth to a pay-per-view card in the UK, it's also awesome in its own way. Gary, thoughts on this move and thoughts on this fight being official?
I've gone back and forth on it, right? First, it would have been great to have it as a headliner at the theater at Madison Square Garden. It would have did great numbers. I think it would have sold out the little building. You would have a Puerto Rican fighter and an Irish fighter. It has both have the natural fan base. It's a great fight, right? Like, we were debating who wins it. It's just on its own merits. It's a great fight that warrants to be a main event. But on the contrary, it probably gets more eyes on it if you do it this, and they probably make more money. So, I mean, in all business sense, it probably makes more sense to put it as the co-main, and it makes this pay-per-view more attractive.
Yeah, I largely agree. I think we're all pretty much in agreement with this. Do you think it drastically affects the bottom line of the pay-per-view, Rob, having this fight attached to having a Katie Taylor Serrano fight? Drastically meaning it's going to add 50,000 plus more buys.
Yeah, look, the buys come in from Ireland as well, so
okay.
It really will get a big boost, I think. Yeah, and like I say, ticket sales it'll be packed out. I think they will sell out Manchester Arena, no problem now with Katie Taylor on there.
LDTB in the chat saying, guys, are you going to talk about J-Rock turning down the rematch with Rosario? That's official, right? They turned on the rematch?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that briefly? I have no big issue with it per se. Like, if a fighter does want to take an immediate rematch and they want to go and work something out with a tune-up or something like that, I have no issue with that. Main thing that's like being that brutally honest as a fighter, just say, hey, I'm good off the rematch. I'm gonna go do something else first. I kind of applaud, I'll be quite honest, instead of like prolonging a negotiation process and then falling out with like an injury or something like that. I'd like if I was saying, no, I'm gonna go take a tune-up first and just being very quick about that. It quickens the process to make fights and everything. And honestly, he might need to take a tune-up. Like that was such a brutal, like one-sided fight, honestly speaking, that maybe he does need to fight like a Jarrett Hurd in a rematch first, who also didn't look that great in his last fight. I curious to see what happens there. Hold on 1 second, guys.
I thought I don't know. Do you think he can beat Rosario again? He got beat up pretty bad, so maybe not. I'm a little surprised I didn't take. I mean, I get the reason why he didn't take the immediate rematch. I just think he could. He's a better boxer than Rosario. I think he could change things up and win a rematch. So I was just a little surprised by that decision.
I don't know if it's enough in terms of game planning per se. And I don't know if it's if game planning, if they can do enough in terms of game planning in 4 months in a quick turnaround rematch. I just don't know if they could. That'd be tough to do. Ellie in the chat saying they said they had eye surgery. No, I don't remember them saying they had eye surgery, but if they did, I mean, then yeah. Totally different then. I mean, then yeah, of course. Take a couple tune-ups probably.
What a duck.
Yeah, like the fact that like Inoue is coming and fighting Casamora after a orbital fracture is really not advised. Or ill-advised, I should say. Like Gary, you muted. I'm shocked more people like haven't talked about the fact that Inoue should not be taking this fight right now. But to digress from that point, no, I don't think any of us should really hate on J-Rock to not take the rematch. That's his prerogative, and plus it doesn't mean he's not a top 5 guy still, right? So go take a tune-up. Moving on, David Benavidez, who obviously his Caleb Truex fight is not happening because Caleb Truex pulled out for reasons still unknown. Rob,
I don't know. I'm just devastated.
It was just so weird, that report. Like, Caleb Truex is just withdrawn from the fight. It's like, okay, why? No one gave an answer. But he's now fighting Ramar Alexis Angulo, who just beat Anthony Sims Jr. Just a few weeks ago, I want to say.
The gatekeeper.
I don't care about this fight. I want to see David Benavidez fight Caleb Plant. Until that happens, I don't care. Or, Callum Smith, Bledger Saunders, I want a unification. Like, all these guys are good enough to fight in unifications already. They don't need to fight top 15 guys still. So just fight a unification for fuck's sake. It's not that hard.
Caleb Truex looked at this guy. Like, look at the size of this guy. I don't need this at this point in my life. I'm not doing this. I've made good money. I'm done. Nah, I'll go fight some cab driver in Minneapolis and make some cash. I don't need to get beat up by this guy at this stage of my life. I don't need that in my life.
Probably true, guys. Any other thoughts on David Benavidez versus Angulo?
No, not really.
Liam Williams probably going to get the fight against Demetrius Andrade, as Frank Warren says. Quote, the WBO have advised us, and we're in negotiations at the moment for him to fight Demetrius Andrade. Fights can take place, I think, within the next 90, 120 days. He's good to go. End quote from BT Sport by way of Michael Benson. Guys, I'm not diametrically opposed to this fight in any way, but I don't care about it. Like, I know it's gonna be a good fight to a degree. I know Liam Williams arguably has like earned this shot in some fashion, but Andrade's one of those guys, like similar to like Benavidez. I just want to see him in a unification. I want to see him fight top 5 opponents, not top 10 or 15 opponents. I want to fight top 5 guys like Charlo, like Triple G, Derevchenko.
He earned this fight by beating Alantez Fox.
I said arguably.
I mean, look, it ain't the worst fight in the world, but it certainly ain't a good one. I'll just leave it at that.
His shot. Give Liam Williams his shot.
He had a shot against Beefy Smith, and he lost twice.
At 154, yeah?
Okay, all right.
Yeah, just checking. By the way, sources, when asked, like Warren saying he's negotiating, sources that just means the WBO have sent you've got so many days to negotiate, and also sources Munguia was mandatory, but he turned the fight down with Andrade.
Really?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, because he's moving up.
Interesting.
Yeah, that would be a bad look for Munguia.
Oh, he would lose that fight. Yeah. I mean,
I guess if Golden Boy believed in him like they did 2 years ago, they would have made that fight, right? Yeah.
So as far as negotiations, I don't think it's gone as far as Frank Warren talking to Andrade's side of things. It's just more the WBO, I think, are coming around to the idea of making Liam Williams the mandatory, and that he'll have X amount of days to negotiate that fight or whatever. So I guess we'll see if the first ever conversation held between Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn happens, because they still to this day say they've never ever spoken to each other.
Leonard Sterling in the chat is saying Eddie Hearn said he contacted PBC to make Smith versus Plant or Eubank Jr. or go with Jacobs, aka meaning we're gonna get Smith versus Jacobs next.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's also an IFL interview from Eddie Hearn.
Or Boxing Social, I think. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, Boxing Social. They do great work too. What else do we have here? Oh, I love this fight. Let's talk about this one. Jamel Herring versus Carl Frampton will land June 13th in Belfast. This one kind of took a while to make, but finally made. I am preemptive, sort of preliminary pick, I should say. I'm picking Jamel Herring to win this one, and actually possibly might even finish Carl Frampton late. Like maybe a 10th or 11th round TKO. I could see that absolutely. But Herring should win this one, I think, in relatively easy fashion. I think his boxing ability at this point is on par with Carl Frampton. And plus, he is far bigger, far lankier, and knows how to use those physical advantages completely. Gary, thoughts on Herring Frampton landing in Belfast June 13th? Thoughts on that being official?
Good. It's just a shame that a world champion from New York can't really sell this fight in Madison Square Garden. The fight's bigger over there, so go over there. It just seems like Herring's a champ. He's from the biggest market in the country. Why can't they make it in his town? But I guess there's no appeal.
How many 130-pound New York champions have been famous?
It's a bigger draw over there. I mean, Kevin Kelly was a 126-pounder. You're right. I mean,
there's question, Gary. How many 130-pounders?
I'm just saying, it's. I think Herring is largely hurt by the weight class. I mean,
Junior Jones used to sell, but it's relative. Junior Jones used to sell at the small building in the theater, right? This fight's much bigger than that over there, and so you're gonna go over there. It doesn't bode well for American boxing if they can outbid you that easily. That you have to, the champion's got to go over there.
Gary, I think you're grossly overstating how much Jamel Herring not being able to sell out the MSG theater is an indictment on U.S. boxing.
Okay, well, it's kudos to British boxing. Then how about that?
I mean, Carl Frampton is a two-time champion or one-time champion,
Yeah, and I'm gonna pick Herring because Herring looks really sharp, but I think Frampton is a live dog, and he's gonna be an underdog in the fight, right? I think he's a live dog. I'm going to pick Herring because he looks really good his last couple of fights. But Frampton always kind of figures a way to keep himself relevant, right? I wouldn't discount Frampton and say that this is going to be an easy fight for Herring.
And to the because I'm still stuck on the whole Gary, I don't know why I'm still stuck on it, but the whole this being an indictment on U.S. boxing. You do realize Carl Frampton's biggest fights have been in the U.S., right?
Yeah, that's true. The Staples Center. Was it the Barclays? It was the Barclays, right?
I think one of them was the Barclays, one of them was Staples Center, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the Scott Quigg fight would probably be his third biggest fight in his career, I would say, right? Am I wrong on that?
What?
Scott Quigg would be his third biggest fight after the Leo Santa Cruz fights?
Yeah, well, Warrington, maybe.
Yeah, so, Frampton...
Their victory's looking pretty good now.
You're making more of a case for me to put this in the U.S. He's already sold well in the U.S. He's done well in the U.S. Why would he put...
Well, because he's sold well with Leo Santa Cruz, an Hispanic fighter. in the low weight classes with a lot of volume. Definitely has that stereotypical style. I forget what I was going to say, but back to you, Gary, or Rob. I don't know if you want to jump in here for.
By the way, yesterday Jamal Herring posted, well, I guess I'm getting my contract this week then. So I think some people were like, yeah, see, I knew Frampton didn't want it, and took it as like, what, this isn't signed, or why are they saying this is happening when I haven't even had my contract yet? And others took it as, yes, it's happening. Yeah, you'll get your contract this week and you'll sign it and everything's cool. So I don't know, but Herring suggesting that he hasn't got the contract yet. So whether we pump the brakes on this a little bit. I mean, it's been talked about for so long now. I think
it's going to happen.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I like it. I know when they squared off in the ring, Jamal Herring looked about 7 foot taller than Frampton. Herring looked huge. I was like, damn. But I don't know. That Donaire victory is gathering, more praise the longer we go. The way Donaire was supposed to get knocked out in a round against Inoue.
No one thought that.
Yeah, they
Well,
did.
Frampton is really short, though, right?
Yeah, some people thought that, but no one on this show thought Donaire was going to get knocked out early by Inoue.
I'm going to go back and look at your prediction.
I picked it.
Maybe Gary did because Gary said some bullshit. But I remember us specifically talking about how great Donaire has looked in this tournament, how great how rejuvenated he looks at 118, how even though the Ryan Burnett fight ended prematurely, he was beating Ryan Burnett before that stoppage.
Yeah, I just thought it was stylistic. Donaire's there to be hit, and if he's there to be hit by Inoue, it's good night. And I don't know that I picked him early, but I definitely said that he was going to get stopped by Inoue. I don't remember what round, if I picked a round or anything.
Anyways, Jamal Herring's going to he's going to batter.
You're going to batter Carl Frampton.
That's a ridiculous thing to say.
He's going to outpoint him, right? I mean.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to be a real good fight, especially if it wins apart. They will get all behind, obviously, Frampton. It'll be.
It could be Frampton by a bogus decision. Have you considered that, Matt?
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
They did it to Andre Durrell with
Look,
Carl Froch.
That's great.
They done it to Fury.
That's great.
Well, that was in the U.S.
I just
saying.
How can I put this lightly? Carl Frampton is one of those people that I question how much he has left in the tank. And at 130, a division where he is grossly undersized for. No, yeah. I'm not.
Yeah, but it's the right fight because Herring's not a puncher.
Frampton started like 118, 122, guys. Like,
and Herring started at 140 and came down.
Down 2 divisions.
Where did Pacquiao start?
What?
Where did Pacquiao start?
Where did Pacquiao start?
Pacquiao.
Henry Armstrong struck. It's like, stop, Rob.
Just saying, you're saying he started at 118 and we're talking 130?
Pacquiao had insane knockout power. Frampton does not have that. That's why guys can move up certain divisions because they have the power to do that.
John O'Carroll's got.
Why can Mikey? Why do we question Mikey's ability at 147? Because we don't think he has the power he did at 135. Donaire has a lot more power at 118 compared to 130. Frampton has a lot more power, a lot more ability, a lot quicker at 126, 122 than he is at 130. I mean, this is just very simple mathematics. Herring was at 140 and moved down 2 divisions. The dude's a fucking giant. Okay, he's a freak of nature with how big he is. No,
You're making me pick Frampton now.
And Frampton's like, what, 5'4"? That guy's real short.
Frampton's small. He is tiny.
He's going to bash him up.
I would pick Valdez to beat Carl Frampton right now.
I knew that tweet was true.
Moving on. Jamal James versus Thomas Delorme set down for April 11th on Fox. Big Fox, guys.
Thomas Delorme wins.
That's possible. It's absolutely possible. Thomas Delorme is really good. He's arguably a top 15 guy.
Jamal isn't.
Jamal James is good. He's just one of those guys I don't think is ever going to be really better than what he is, if that makes sense. You know, like he's a perennial top 20 guy. He's going to be ranked number 17 and 14 and 18 for the next 5 years. You know what I mean?
I just said that because I thought it might trigger someone. Lazy Lefty tagged me in a tweet when Gary said there's a lot of PBC fans that think FA is the next Lennox Lewis. He said no one thinks that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure no one thinks that as well. I don't think anyone thinks FA is the next Lennox Lewis.
There's a lot of people who are real hot. Go listen to Name Redacted. They thought he was the greatest thing on since sliced bread. There's a lot of people who thought FA was the goods.
Yeah, but the Lennox Lewis, I don't think anyone compared him to Lennox Lewis.
I was just using the next great heavyweight. That was just the name that came to mind.
Okay.
Right? It's like saying
he tagged you as well, Matt, and then he just put Gary is tripping.
I saw that. Quick mention of this as well, because this is at the Armory in Minneapolis. They are doing a special deal where you can buy a package and get all 3 PBC events there. So you can buy like one ticket, so to speak, or one package of tickets. For like $400, something like that, and then you get all 3 fights or access to all 3 fights this year. But other than that, I think this fight should be an FS1 card. I mean, I think this fight's really good. I think it's a competitive fight. I think it's an interesting fight because this is one of those fights where Jamal James wins. He now gets a big fight, right? If Jamal James wins against Thomas Dolome, he fights Danny Garcia next potentially, right? Like that's a name that's now possible, or Keith Thurman or guys like that. Sean Porter, those are names that are now absolutely likely and on top of it, theoretically competitive now because Thomas Delorme is that gatekeeper to the top 10. I just think this fight isn't a Fox main event. That's my only criticism of it. Guys, thoughts on this Jamal James, Thomas Delorme?
For the namesake, it's not a Fox main event, but it's a 50-50 fight and it's a good fight. So like that kind of this is not going to do a good rating. It's not. But just a hardcore perspective, like it's a fun fight. It's a good fight, and it's a 50-50 fight. So those who do watch it, I think will enjoy the product that they get.
I largely agree with that, Gary. I just think that this is one that this should be a co-main event.
It should be a co-main, yeah.
What other big PBC event is in April? I'm trying to remember. Rob, can you help me out here? I'm trying to find
oxymoron, I thought. I'm joking. I don't know. PBC April.
Cards here.
April PBC.
Let me go to the schedule right now. Hold on, as I pull it up. But Rob, talk about it as I look up.
Yeah, no, I'm done saying this is a shit fight. This is a shit card and stuff like that because every time we say that, the actual fight is quite a barn burner or it's quite lively.
Gary,
it may not be leading.
Gary, can you please mute yourselves as your kids are going and attacking each other?
He is muted.
Like, now he is.
No, he was.
Maybe it was you,
Rob? It was me, but I'm going to blame Rob.
All right. I looked and Gary's thing was already muted when you said, like, can you mute yourself? It was like already muted.
And I've done it preemptively right before I said it. Knowing that's what I was going to say.
Have you found the schedule? Because I don't even know what I was saying.
Talking about Delorme and the Jamal James fight. I mean, who do you think wins that fight?
I said Delorme wins.
I've
never been that overly impressed with Jamal James, to be honest. I think Delorme is on his day. I think he's trouble for a lot of people. I think he can be a tricky fighter to get the W against sometimes if he raises his game. But I think I'll go with Delorme. I think.
I cannot wait to fix my goddamn computer.
I'm leaning towards Delorme too, but I'm going to go back and watch some Jamal James.
You what?
My gut feeling initially is Delorme a little too tricky for him.
See, we've had too long of a break. Now I don't know what to think. Because your gut feeling saying my gut feeling, and that's not how this used to work. It's not how this works on this show. All
right, Jamal James batters him. How about that?
Yes, there we go. Let's go, man.
There we go. Finally loaded up. Holy
Say, I don't know how long you think I can talk about the Lawmay Joe.
Hey, I'm sorry, man. I apologize. Let me see if I can find a quick card that we can sort of like consolidate here. Playing matchmaker here. Got a lot of good cards, but none of them are PBC cards going up. We got the Benavidez fight. You know, maybe you throw like the Benavidez fight on top of it because Benavidez will probably draw better and have the Jamal James Thomas elimination fight be the co-main event. Because other than that, there's nothing this month for PBC. That's it. That's only 2 big cards. You have a FS1 card in Biloxi, Mississippi that hasn't been announced. No fight's been attached to it yet. And that's it.
Well, I'm going to go to that one because I like Biloxi.
But I mean, you have a Nue Casamora this month. You know, you have other big fights. But in the PBC, you have the Showtime card on April 18th, Benavidez versus Angulo. I would just have consolidated those 2. But hey, that's what we have now in this current.
From what I understand, and there's going to be a Barrios fight that's going to be an FS1 card in the very end of April or beginning of May, possibly the same week as the Canelo fight.
Cool. Thank you for interrupting me, Gary. What I was saying is that the current sort of industry is stretched so thin, market saturation such a significant issue that none of these promotional companies or promotional entities or whatever you want to call them have enough talent to completely fill every date. Not Matchroom, Golden Boy, Top Rank, PBC, none of them have it. Because otherwise we wouldn't have 2 kind of lackluster cards in the same month from the same promotional company, air quotes, because I know it's PBC. I would have just consolidated that. And I would have
headliners.
What was that?
They're just a little short of headliners right now. That's all.
Benavidez is a headliner.
Okay. Yeah, Benavidez. That's fine. Yeah.
It's just rough, like especially when you don't like to make good fights. It's. I mean, they have the talent. Well, again, they have.
No. That's very wrong. It is literally impossible for any promotional outfit to make a good main event in every one of their cards.
No, I agree with that. There's too many dates now, right? But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
there's too many. But work outside of your brand. Like if you didn't always, if you took David Benavidez and matched him with a Frank Warren guy or a Top Rank guy or something like that, then you could save one of your other fighters for his own date against. You know what I'm saying? You could work outside of your brand and make more events than just matching up your own guys constantly.
This might be controversial. I don't think it is. I think even if that was to happen, let's say we have everyone singing Kumbaya around the campfire, Bob Arum, Al Heyman, the Hearns, Frank Warren, Oscar, everyone's there. Everyone's roasting weenies, having a great time, right? They still don't have enough guys to fill out every fucking date.
No, I agree. It's the same as like Thursday night football. Everyone complains that the Thursday night game sucks. Well, you have to have a good game on Sunday night. You have to have a good game on Monday night. Everyone likes that Thursday afternoon game of the week. How many good games do you think we have every week? Like, I got to give you Browns versus Jaguars. Like, there's nothing else I can give you this week. It's kind of like that.
You have 50 plus events for ESPN that Top Rank has to give. You have 32 plus events that Matchroom has to give for DAZN, let alone their Sky offerings. You have Golden Boy, 20 events? 20-something events for DAZN. You have PBC with 35 events with Showtime.
12, wasn't it? Wasn't Golden Boy's like a 12? I thought it was 12. I don't think it's 20.
Yeah, you're going to get some. When you have this many events, you're going to get some duds.
I don't know. But regardless, you have a massive amount of cards to fill out. I don't think if they were all, playing well in the sandbox together, we would get great main events every fucking card with these many dates to fill out. It's impossible. It's not like, and now with Impact Network, Telemundo, like the amount of TV that's out there that's covering boxing that has boxing events, you're just not going to get the best events every time. It's just impossible.
There's too many dates for everything to be a winner. You're going to have some Devin Alexander's versus Ivan Redcash. Like it's just like there's too many dates.
It's going to be that way. Last bit of news, guys, and we're going to head out of here. Matchroom Boxing announcing for the Prograis Hooker card, some more of the undercard. Filip Hrgović fighting Jerry Forrest. Who cares? And that Lusanov and Dongo fight is announced official. And Ray Ford is Raymond Ford. Is he fighting on the card? Yeah, Raymond Ford.
Yep.
So guys,
still to come on there is Campbell Fortuna.
Yeah, that's not announced yet 100%.
This week, I think it's coming.
But it will be. It will be.
Luke Campbell basically said it's done and it's on that card. So
I really don't get what they're doing with Filip Pogovic right now, because Jay Force is a complete no name at this point in time. Like, why are we having this fight?
He was like Gassiev, so it's like I don't know whether it's like a courtesy thing. Oh, we'll give it to Hrgovic.
Why don't they just do Gassiev Hrgovic?
Well, there's a bit of
because Gassiev might win, and then what's that going to do for Hrgovic, who they like?
Fucking bounce back. This is the heavyweight division.
Yeah, no, you're right. He can bounce back. It's the heavyweights.
There was a little bit of Gassiev news that he'd signed to another promoter, but when asked, Eddie Hearns said, "Well, no, he's under contract with me." So I don't know.
Maybe there's some issues behind the scenes we don't know about.
Huh?
Maybe there's some issues behind the scenes we don't know about.
Maybe, yeah. Well,
kind of like Gilberto Ramirez, kind of just all of a sudden be like, "Hey, I don't want to work with you guys anymore. Let me go talk to everyone else." And Bob Arum's like, "Dude, you're under contract still.
Talk to who you want. Go talk to who you want, but remember, you still owe me a fight." Yeah, and they've just speaking of that, Top Rank have just signed. Who's the dude in the WBO light heavyweight mini tournament thing? Jalalov.
Vlasov?
Yeah, him. They Top Rank signed him.
Yeah, Maxim Vlasov. They signed everyone. They have the entire tournament locked in.
Yeah.
Good for them. But guys, any other thoughts? I mean, that's gonna be it for the show.
Gary?
Music. Final thoughts time. Fights. This last weekend, Canelo Saunders, Katie Taylor, all that fun stuff.
Boy, I feel like this is like the off season, right? I thought we're searching for topics. Not a lot going on this week.
Lazy Lefty just messaged me. He said, "I think a lot of this is like with fights and stuff." He said about a bit nervous about coronavirus. Like, don't know quite, fill up the schedule and then a whole bunch of stuff potentially falls out. Because I know Eddie Hearns said, "I don't think you can do boxing behind closed doors, really. Like it's fine with a football match or something like that, but can you do a boxing match with 0 people in there?"
Yes, you can.
What, a main event? Big, huge main events?
Go to any undercard in the U.S.
All right. Can you do Wilder Fury? Fury Wilder 3? No spectators in the arena.
If it gets that, yeah, fuck yeah, why not?
Nah.
I remember when the first time I ever really noticed a game not having a crowd was when the protests and riots were happening in Baltimore, and the Baltimore baseball game had no attendance, and that was pretty wild. I didn't. If anything, it kind of made it more atmospheric and like eerie in a way, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
For that, it did for sure.
Can it make it more atmospheric if there's no one there?
Because the entire reason there's no one there is because of what's happening outside that fucking stadium. And
yeah, but that was a riot. That was like a real reason not to leave your house. This is the flu.
Just don't have sugar, guys.
Thank you.
Just don't eat sugar, guys. You guys are fine.
Don't feed the virus.
Yeah, wash your hands and don't feed it.
You should wash your hands anyway, just as a
a decent human being.
Yeah.
Oh God!
And the health minister in the UK, Nadine Dorries, she's got coronavirus and self-isolating herself.
I think we're going to cover fights this weekend on Wednesday. No, tomorrow's Wednesday.
That's tomorrow. So Thursday?
Thursday. Sorry, Thursday.
Shakur Stevenson wins. There you go.
I know. We got to talk about it. All these fights are trash this weekend.
I just covered it. On Friday.
All these main events suck. And we're getting people out there tweeting only PBC have no headliners, which makes no sense. It's weird. Digressing, guys. We're gonna be out of here, and I'll be back tomorrow morning for UFC 248 wrap up. Back Thursday to cover boxing events this weekend and any other boxing news. Find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, on all social media platforms. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Rob?
Yeah. You can find me mostly washing my hands multiple times. Shout out to that woman giving a speech that you're not to touch your face.
And then touch her face.
And then she licks her finger to turn the page of her speech.
That's like the worst thing to do when you touch your face is to actually lick your hand.
Yeah, it's great.
Lick your fingertip.
She said, yeah, don't touch your mouth, your eyes, and then it's just straight in. Look, turn the page on the speech. Fantastic. But yeah, you know, go careful out there, people. Save some toilet paper for the rest of us. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.
Gary.
Hopefully, I wasn't expecting much of the fights last week, and then you had Zach Johnson who handed in a great fight.
Zach Parker.
Zach Johnson's a golfer. Zach Parker handed in a great performance, and you had Jonah Carroll, who looked sensational. We don't know if that has more to do with Jonah Carroll or Scott Quigg. And then we had a major upset. So maybe these cards work out better than anticipated too. I don't know. No, I'm not shaking his head.
Don't give shitty cards flack in like a life.
No, I mean they're crappy cards, but maybe the fights turn out to be competitive. I don't know. Or maybe we see a star-making performance on the undercard.
But there's great fights that turn out shit. Like that happens sometimes. Doesn't matter.
I'm trying to put a silver lining on a bad weekend of boxing. That's all.
It was a bad weekend of boxing. We have bad weekends of boxing all the way until Bridas Dorticos, guys. March 21st, I think. That's the first good fight we have, I think, this month.
Live on Sky.
And DAZN? Yes, DAZN, obviously.
Yeah.
Follow me on all forms social media, 3D Boxing, 3D Boxing blog. From Texas to the world, thank you, and God bless.
Peace.